I was born here, and then when I was about 3 years, I moved up to San Francisco, and then lived there until I was 12. I went to a boarding school actually, as well, in Barstow, too, like between the age, 9 and 10.
What's a boarding school like?
It was cool. It wasn't really a school for bad kids. It was kind of just like they had this idea to create an environment like out in the desert, away from, everything else, and just focus on studies. And not to mention they had a lot of outdoor academic stuff. Like,
So look at that guy. This guy's all waving.
But they have like a farm there where you'd like help raise different animals. Like I had a pony that I had to.
Really?
That was like my pet, and kids like learn. It's kind of weird, but it was cool.
How many kids were in the boarding school?
It was probably about 60 or something at the most.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it was small. It was a small school.
So when did you come back to LA?
Well, I came back the summer. Well, I was 12 years old, and it was the summer of '01, I believe. No, 2000.
Okay.
I guess the summer of 2000, and I didn't, I obviously wasn't going to school, so I didn't really know anybody out here.
Yeah.
And I was living at, my parents' house, and so I got a computer for Christmas a couple years back, and I started to use it to meet people online, in like AOL chat rooms.
I heard that you were really addicted to MySpace back when it came out.
Not really. People say that. I mean, I think it was back then it was a lot easier to meet people like you, because it was like 2002 and 2003, and it was, you couldn't walk down the street and see kids that listen to hardcore. And it wasn't everywhere, so it was like a cool community. It was a bit more exclusive back then, I feel. And even the other social networks like Face the Jury and like Mad Red Hair and Makeout Club and all those things that were more revolved around an alternative lifestyle rather than what it is now, a marketing tool,
Yeah.
So
Is Face the Jury still around?
I don't know. I haven't been on that for a long time, but I had a Face the Jury profile too, and the first one I ever had was Mad Red or Makeout Club, which was just one picture. A little like about me section, and then you could put your AIM name up, and that's it. The people that would gravitate towards that were people that had the similar interests, and I feel like within the last few years, that scene has sort of exploded, where you don't necessarily have to go online to meet people like you anymore. You can just walk down the street,
So you said you were 12 years old, you came back here, and you were just trying to meet new people?
Yeah, I met a bunch of kids in East LA, and started going to like hardcore shows and punk shows out there. And then I went to a little artsy school in or La Crescenta, if you know where that is.
It's Pasadena, like in the hills?
It's kind of, it's a little bit east of Pasadena, a little west of Pasadena.
Like Glendale?
Kind of. It's north of Glendale. And it's a weird, it's off the 210. It's a weird place. But I went to a school out there that was kind of an artsy school, and we were in a couple of punk bands and stuff when I was really young.
Did you ever play at the No Future Cafe over there?
No, but I used to go to the No Future Cafe.
Yeah. I've never been there, man. But...
Really? I haven't been there since 2002, 2002 or 3. Like, I haven't been there for a long time. I don't even know if is it around?
I got an email from some band saying that they were playing there, so I guess it's still around.
Crazy.
But yeah, it's nuts, man. So where did you go to high school and all that? Like,
never went to high school. I always went to private schools, like not sort of homeschool vibey. Like before I left to join from first to last, I was going to like a school where you'd show up 2 hours a day and then you would bring home homework, basically.
Oh shit!
But I never did the work. I was just playing in bands and playing music. That was all I really wanted to do. And
that's crazy.
Yeah, so I kind of had a interesting upbringing. I feel like I was going to shows at a young age. I got to play a lot of shows at a young age. I got to sort of hang out with older people and become, cultured in that sense.
Were your parents all supportive of this, or
they were. They really were. My father bought me my first guitar and making a mess. My father bought me.
Napkin, dude?
No, I'm cool. I'm
okay.
cool. My father bought me my first guitar when I was 9 years old.
Oh yeah.
And he was always into the fact that I like to sit in my room and make music. He always would come in and listen to my songs and acknowledge me for it. So.
What inspired you at such a young age? Like, what kept you, or made you write music?
A couple things. I mean, the fact that my social life revolved around going to shows only. That's when I first, the kids, my first friends here were from East LA, and all they did was go to shows twice a week. That was like what they, looked forward to, because they didn't have anything out there, in Bell County and Linwood and Inglewood. They didn't have anything. They would go to school and they didn't have money, and they would save up all their allowance for $2 at the door at some American Legion Hall, where it was just banging every week, and it was like, it became my life. That was all I really knew at that point, as far as like a social activity. It wasn't about, proms or like cutting high school to go smoke weed. It was just going to shows, Like I never got to experience, like I've never been inside of a public high school in my life. I've never been to a prom. I've never experienced all those normal teenage high school sort of things. So music was just all I really had. So yeah,
that's sweet though.
Yeah.
Like, how did From First to Last come into play? And you were a little bit older, right?
I was 16. I just turned 16. Basically, I met Matt Good, the guitar player, on the internet, and we just started to talk, and I was playing guitar. I was really into it at that point. I was in a different band, and we would just send each other music back and forth, and this was even before he was signed to Epitaph.
Okay.
And then it was weird. This is kind of, I've never actually told this part of the story before. It's when a friend of mine committed suicide, and I was talking to him, and he was in LA. He was like, yeah, we just got signed to Epitaph, and we're at this Epitaph Christmas party right now. We should hang out. And we never got to meet that night. That's when I was just like, kind of in a weird place, and he was talking about how they're kicking their singer out, and it was just like, God, this could be something for me, because I was playing guitar, and he said he was going to sing, and they needed a guitar player. So all I did was just hound and harass him, like, I'll buy a plane ticket out there, let me just try out. Life kind of was in a weird place, so all I wanted to do was play music, and then after that, shortly after, I found out I was adopted. So then I called him and I said, listen, I don't care about anything right now. I want to come out here, and I really want to try out for your band. So he finally let me, and I came out, and I ended up singing.
So you said you were adopted. Tell me about that.
I was just turned 16, and I found out that some people that I knew my whole life were actually my parents and my brothers and sisters, and I had not known that, and kind of found out through the grapevine. Actually, it wasn't like I was told by someone, so I was a bit upset, and I can't blame them, because they kind of, I figured if you ever adopt someone, you tell them their whole life, so they never told me, so I happened to find out at my most rebellious stage in my life anyway, so it happened to make sense to just leave LA and go on tour.
Did you talk to your parents about
that? Yeah, we talk. We're great now. We're cool now. I love them, and both my biological and my parents, my adopted parents, are, they know what they did was a mistake, and they're, like, aside from that one mistake, they raised me so right, so I couldn't hold anything against them,
Sure, man.
Yeah.
So what was it like with From First to Last? Like, what were you feeling? What were you going through?
As far as
just you yourself, what are your thoughts on joining the band and
it was a great experience. It was the best experience I've ever had in my life. Or one of the best experiences I've ever had, and brought me here today. And I'm not bitter about anything. I appreciate everything that they've done for me, and everything. I'm proud of myself for what I've done and the things I've accomplished at a young age. I'm still young, and I'm not letting that get the better of me, and I'm not letting that make me feel lazy, like, oh, I'm young, but it gave me the experiences to pursue what I'm doing now, so.
What made you want to do your own thing?
It was the timing. I mean, I hurt my voice really bad, and we had to cut a tour, and we were kind of sitting around, kind of writing for a record, but we just had signed to Capitol Records, and they were on a freeze of funds, basically because they were merging with EMI and Virgin and all this crap. So there was no money coming in to actually do any music. There was no money to do. We were actually going to do a record with Ross Robinson again, and there was there was just no money. We were sitting around waiting for something to happen because of the label. People were getting fired and all that stuff. So it was just kind of. I started to write my own music for fun.
Yeah.
I was living at my manager's house in New Jersey at the time, and then I finally realized, like, I got to do this, man. This is just. It has to happen now. It almost felt like a calling for me, So.
You mentioned Ross Robinson. I did an interview with him probably in January, not too long ago.
Cool.
And what was it like working with him? I ask everybody that works with him just because I listen to all his bands growing up.
Yeah, I mean, Look, I mean, me too, Korn was the first music I ever owned, aside from Michael Jackson. I was in LA. It was actually while I was going to this boarding school, and we had 10 days on and 4 days off is how it worked. And I spent 4 days one time with my friend that lived in LA that went to the boarding school. We were walking around, actually, Sunset Boulevard, and we walked into a thrift store, and there was a little basket at the counter where you pay, where the register was.
Yeah.
And they had and it was like a quarter basket, so everything in the basket was a quarter, and they had some, like, earrings, some bracelets, some, card decks, and then they had two tapes that were in a white slip, and it said Korn on the front. And on the back it said Blind, Clown, and Faggot. Those are the three songs from the self-titled. It was like a single, right?
Oh, wow.
And so we bought them for $3, and it was Blind, Clown, and Faggot on both sides. So we listened to three songs, flip it over and listen to the same songs, and it was just like, oh my God, it was just life-changing. So, working with him, obviously the first time I met him, it was like star-striking. I had the Who or the Who, the Korn videos? It's Who Now Then, or Who, like either Who Now Then or Who Then Now or whatever. That's what it's called.
Okay.
I had the VHS, and I didn't know what a producer was. I didn't know what that meant, but all I did was read the liner notes and see Ross Robinson, and then seeing the video, how he was featured in the Korn video. He was the only producer growing up at that point that had like a face and an image and a persona to me.
Yeah.
Producers, other than that, I didn't even know what they did, but when I saw Ross on the Korn movie...
Wait, are you talking about not to cut you off, are you talking about the documentary that's also on, like, one of the albums? Like, it's the video thing?
It's the first video they came out with. It's them, it has them recording, like, Life is Peachy.
And Jonathan's crying?
Yeah,
okay, I know what you're talking about.
But, I mean, so he might as well have been a rock star to me or someone in a band,
Me too, man. That's how I felt when I met him. I was like... It was such a weird vibe, going to his place and like,
right.
Like
you went to his house in Venice?
Venice.
Cool, yeah.
It was really cool, man. Like, just you feel like you learn a lot just talking to him for a couple hours. It's like
very wise.
It's like, damn, man.
Yeah, he was the most supportive person ever. I mean, I saw him. I was just at his place a couple weeks ago. We still keep in touch and hang out, and he'll always be one of my best friends for sure.
How has he influenced your writing now?
He definitely brought the me out of me on the second record.
Yeah.
And I feel like if anything stuck, it's that. It's always, using my influences and not wearing them on my sleeve, but not forgetting who I am and writing from where I come from. And I didn't really know how to do that until I met him, as much as I do now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
So that's something that stuck with me for sure.
Okay, so you said you live downtown now, and like, I know Aaron from Drop Dead was playing with you for a little
bit.
bit?
Yeah, he was. He's not anymore. He's doing his own thing now, like similar to, not sonically similar, but in the vein of what I'm doing, where he's writing everything and he's going to have a band. And stuff.
Does he still live here?
No. He was living in my apartment for a while, and now he's just living back at Denver. And but yeah, I'm happy for him because he's happy. You know, he's a great musician, and he can do so much. You know, he's not just someone that can learn a part and play. He's so musical. He can just sit there and jam out so many melodies right on the spot. So very talented guy.
Like, tell me about your new stuff. You know, how you write it.
Yeah, I start writing it myself. You know, I usually start on my computer. I know it sounds cliche. Everybody's saying that nowadays. But I, start on my computer just because I can record everything into it. You know, I start, and then I create a track, and I bring it to my live band, and we kind of recreate it from there. You know.
Yeah.
And it's cool because one thing I'm really proud of is how it actually is. It keeps the core elements of the electronic tracks, but the way it's created live is so special, you know. And people listen to it and they go, "Oh, well, that's cool, but how are you gonna do it live?" You know. And then like, I feel really, proud of the live show we have going on right now, just because there's a lot of percussion and there's drums and guitars and synthesizers everywhere, and so.
Where you're at now, recording the music that you're recording, and you look back on all the years that you've been doing this.
Right.
Would you have imagined you're at where you are now back then?
I always knew I wanted to do something else besides From First to Last. I always knew that wasn't my final frontier, But it's kind of crazy how just the world influences you aesthetically to take a certain path that I never would have known. Like as far as the music I'm doing and like what I've been doing right now, or like within the last year or so, I didn't know it was going to be exactly like this.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I figured I was going to do another From First to Last record in Capitol, like when we signed the deal. It was in my intention to stay in the band at that point. But things just worked out.
What label are Atlantic now, or?
It's Atlantic pretty much.
How did that all go down?
Atlantic has been. They were, one of the first people, like, in a premature stage to court me, with my new project, and a lot of other labels never really got it. The question they always asked is how you can do it live, and electronic music, it doesn't work in that sort of genre, or where you come from, the fans are not going to respond, and then a couple of years later, you see bands like Broken Side and Hypercrush that don't even have a record label that are the same fans, and it's like, I fucking told you, and so Atlantic was like, one of the labels that really got what I was doing early on, and we didn't, we had offers early on in the game, but we didn't want to jump, too quick to sign anything. I wanted to kind of like grow and write and tour and kind of stretch my arms a little bit, and then it just made sense, to sign a deal with them. So
with the state of the music industry, with like CD sales declining, everything going crazy, like, do you feel intimidated at all signing to a label that big?
No, because I mean, there's always going to be the biggest pressure will always be the pressure I have on myself, and I don't worry about what people like. I'm not afraid of getting dropped. I'm not afraid of people's influences, because they know why they signed me, and I made it very clear that you're signing me for the music that I'm going to make. And dude, what's going on? Chilling. How you doing?
Doing good.
What's up?
I'm Andy.
What's up, Sonny? Nice to meet you. I like your hoodie.
Thanks.
But yeah, like it's not intimidating. It's a major label, but the fact is, because of declining CD sales and because of budgets and all that stuff, everything's getting smaller anyway. Budgets are getting smaller anyway, so there's less expectation to sell records. You see what I'm saying? I didn't want a lot of money to make my record. I didn't want a lot of money for unnecessary things. I didn't take a big advance. I didn't want any of that. I wanted there to be more back end for me and less pressure from them. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I did, the record on a really small budget, because I don't need big tracking rooms and big, a bunch of whatever.
How many records did you sign for?
It's hard to explain. It's To be honest, I think it's a too firm deal. I'm not really sure.
Okay.
That's kind of, I mean, as much as I am sort of throwing myself into the business part of things, there's still a lot I don't know.
Oh, yeah, sure.
But it's a couple records. I mean, we're doing this EP that's coming out April 7th. Mm-hmm. I'm putting it out myself on an imprint label, and we're just doing it through In-Grooves, which is like an independent sort of online distribution thing.
Yeah.
But I feel like, record contracts are becoming smaller and smaller, and that's the best thing for an artist nowadays. So they're not tied into something when you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow in the record industry. So.
I was thinking about something. I interviewed Eric from Strata. Well, not in Strata anymore, but
Limousines,
yeah. I interviewed him a while back, I think when you guys were doing the Team Sleep tour.
Okay.
He told me about this story with him and Chino and you, and how you guys were skateboarding and the cops came or something. Tell me about that.
Yeah, we were in Austin, I believe it was, and me, Chino, Eric, and Todd from Team Sleep. He was the guitar player of Team Sleep. Todd was BMXing, and me and Chino and Eric were skateboarding.
Yeah.
Just like alleying off these stairs, just kind of hanging out, and cops rolled up, and they were. It was funny because Chino's an awesome dude, and like cops come up, and Chino is just so sweet to the cops. He was like, "All right, sir. All right, officer." And I was thinking, like, dude, when the cops rolled up, I'm like, man, I wonder like how he is around cops. Like he seems like he could be the guy that could just totally be like, "Fuck you, man," or like, "Whatever, dude," or like, or who knows. And he was just so mellow and so cool. And the cops were like, kind of just told us to stop skating. So
that's crazy.
They kind of interrogated us a little bit though. They were kind of like, "So where are you from?" So we're like, "We're from here. We're from there." Like everybody was from a different place, so he got suspicious and like, "So why are you guys here?" "Okay, so what are you guys doing here?" And we're like, "We're playing music. We're just on tour. We're playing down the street." And then they were cool though. So
that's cool, man.
Yeah, it's fun.
But you're still pretty good friends with Eric, right?
Yeah, totally. We talk all the time.
Awesome.
We talk all the time.
What's he doing now besides Limousines?
I think that's about it. He does some graphic design work as well.
Oh yeah, I knew he was into computers.
Yeah. So he's keeping busy. Yeah, he's always been one of the few people that I met along the way that I can really have a conversation with about music and art, and we really understand each other in that way. So.
Well, as far as the future goes, what do you want to get across? What are your goals for yourself?
It's hard to say. It almost changes every single day when I think about it. Like I want to. The reason why I'm not doing this in my room for myself, the reason why I'm creating records and I'm in the public eye and all these things is because I like the idea of building camaraderie around something that's beautiful, and building camaraderie around people that don't even know each other, that will never know each other even as crazy as the internet is right now. Like there are people that can connect through something that will never even meet each other and have something in common. That's pretty cool to me. I also like to, I love to travel, and I love to meet new people, and one of the things that I took from Verse Last is how cultured I feel like I am now, from just being all over the place and meeting new people and seeing, different things and growing up really fast. So I like to be able to explore my outlets artistically as well, and it's gone further than just writing songs. It's remixing and producing and other things as well. So I hope that sort of grows as much as it can.
As far as like artistically, what's the most satisfying to you?
It will always be music. It will always be music. That's being able to produce my own music is really satisfying. Be able to sit back and sort of, drive the truck, or steer the boat, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. That's satisfying to me. The fact that I get, technology is so awesome nowadays. Like the music I make now, 10 years ago would have needed so much equipment and so much stuff just to, create demos. And now it's like you can do it on a laptop and that's it. So it's crazy.
crazy, man.
Yeah.
Sure. Like, how many minutes of that is 25? I think that's pretty good, man.
Cool.
Like,
it's crazy, man. It's something I thought that would never happen.
I know.
Because they did get together for a split second, you know, like but who knows? You know, I think it has the potential to be insane again.
The movie's cooler is if Ross recorded her album.
Exactly.
That would be the shit. He's been torn, right?
That's what he told me. That's awesome. Which is, I feel like everybody's waiting for